So good afternoon and welcome to today's Uplift with Vision. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Reverend Jeanne and I'm just so happy to share this time with you and so grateful for this chance to connect to each other, to spirit, through technology, heart to heart. And as always, let's begin in prayer. Once I just settling into this moment in time, this place, this perfection that is life right here and now, knowing there is only one life, one love, one law, the life, the love, the law of spirit, operating everywhere, always moving into a greater expression of itself, into a greater expression of its freedom, its peace, its expansion. I know that I am one with this, and as I know this for me, I certainly know it for each and every person listening to my voice today. I know that we are absolutely connected to this divine power, this presence, this movement of all life, for it is our very essence. It is the essence of freedom, and it is the movement of expansion and pure expression. This is what I know. And I am so grateful for this truth, for this opportunity to be part of this dance of life that we share, knowing that all is good, for all is God, and so it is. So this month's focus has been the soul's call. And the theme this week is the soul's call to freedom. How perfect for this moment. Can you feel it? Freedom is absolutely in the air. The masks are gone for the most part. Businesses, restaurants, even Vision are opening their doors with few restrictions, and just in time for Independence Day, which is only a week away. Personally, I'm feeling an extra sense of freedom and expansion now that I'm officially retired as of a week ago. So freedom is the word of the day. You know, it is a quality of God. And so it's inherent in us. Our very essence is infused with freedom. It's our divine birthright. Ernest Holmes puts it this way. He says, "The divine plan is one of freedom. Bondage is not God ordained. Freedom is the birthright of every living soul. All instinctively feel this. The truth points to freedom under law. Thus, the inherent nature of man is forever seeking to express itself in terms of freedom." It's our birthright, part of the divine plan. It is our very nature, which is always to seek a greater expression of our freedom. And, you know, we instinctively feel this, right? And the truth is, we knew freedom at our very first breath. I mean, think about it. Before you were born, we're encased in the safe and familiar world in the womb. All of our needs are immediately filled and it's comfortable, but confined, right? Until birth, right? At birth, we are launched into freedom from that constricted world, barely larger than ourselves. We're suddenly propelled into a much vaster space. So much to see, to taste, to do. Limitless opportunities out there when we're freed from the tether of the umbilical cord, right? Yeah. I often imagine death is very much the same experience. After all, it's part of the spiral of life. What if death is the launch into an even more freedom at levels we can't even imagine? From freedom to freedom, the dance of our life, from birth to death to beyond. So here's the question. Do you really feel free in all the areas of your life? Are you living in ease with no constraints, fully liberated in body, mind, and spirit? Well, interesting, isn't it? If freedom is our very nature, why do we not see it more in our lives? And I know what you say. Well, there's rent and mortgage to pay. There's the job. There's the boss. There's the traffic. There's the family obligations. Those are all things that constrain us. And then there are those inner beliefs of, I would feel free if only I had more money or more education or more energy or more time, right? Again, feeling hemmed in, small, constrained. Well, here's the good news. It's only our belief in limitation that limits us. I'm going to repeat that one more time. It's only our belief in limitation that limits us. It's not out there. It's in here. It's in here. And where does that belief in limitation come from? Well, we created it. And we keep it strong and active by our habitual reactions to things, right? The habits of fear and of judgments and withholdings and our denials, our anger, our doubt. These are the self-limiting beliefs that keep us shackled. Yeah. To quote Bernie Gunther, a habit is a choice we are no longer willing to take responsibility for. A habit, simply an arrangement or agreement we make for convenience or efficiency. So we don't have to think about a decision or choice over and over again. So initially it serves us, but without reevaluation, it becomes an umbilical cord tethering us to ideas and thoughts that then become constraints and restraints. It reminds me of the elephants that are used in Asia for hauling and riding. When they're babies, their back leg is shackled and tied to a post with a chain to limit them to the area so they don't wander off. And they quickly learn the distance of the chain and then really stop testing it because they've adapted to the area. Soon the owner is able to remove the chain altogether and just instead replace it with a simple rope tied around their leg, which they could easily break, but they no longer test it, assuming it's too strong for them. And so they do stay in the same area. In that way, we don't question or reevaluate our habitual thoughts, emotions, labels. And in that, we're not free. Yet freedom remains ever available. And we can always access it through what I call courting a higher consciousness. Through meditation and prayer and our spiritual practices, that's how we begin to detach from the old ideas and beliefs and think new, higher thoughts, right? After all, we are a new thought movement. So let's think some new thoughts, shall we? It's all about seeking newness beyond the old habits and patterns and choose thoughts based on higher consciousness. Right here, right now, in this present moment. Because the fact is, the more we bring our focus into the present moment and into our actual experience, the more we can feel the freedom of the spiritual being that we are. Our true self frankly, is having a wonderful time having this adventure that we call life. It embraces it all, every experience. And when we come into the now, we connect with that joyful, free feeling of adventure. We can feel a deeper sense of peace and love, of wisdom and patience, kindness, strength. So why wait? All of us are called to the present moment each and every day. It's really just about choice, making a choice moment by moment. It's all about choosing freedom. Viktor Frankl was an Austrian neurologist and psychiatrist who experienced the Holocaust in the death camps of Auschwitz. He survived when so many around him did not. And here's one of the key ideas that he discovered. He says, everything can be taken away from a man, but one thing, the last of the human freedoms to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's way. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom, right? Freedom requires that we consciously choose our response, our attitude, our own way, no matter the circumstance. The key is to trust that we are guided by spirit, by that higher wisdom self, so we can step past the fear and step into the unknown. It reminds me of a story of an old wise Persian ruler many years ago. During a desert war, a spy was captured, and the automatic sentence was death. But the ruler was a compassionate man, and he had this strange custom that he had adopted over the years. In death penalty cases, he would allow the condemned a choice of either a quick death by firing squad, or to take his chances by passing through a mysterious black door. As the moment of the execution drew near, the ruler asked the frightened spy, well, so what have you chosen? Will it be the firing squad or the black door? The prisoner had wrestled with the decision. Each time he moved closer to the massive black door, his trembling hand stopped short of the key. So he told the ruler he preferred the firing squad to the unknown horrors that might lurk in the shadows behind that mysterious black door. And as the ruler heard the shots from the firing squad, he sighed and he shook his head. And he turned to his aide and he said, you see how it is with people? They will always prefer the known to the unknown. That man went quietly to his death, even though I gave him a choice. And the aide asked, well, what lies behind that black door? And the ruler replied, freedom. And I've known very few men brave enough to take it. Yeah. The future is often as scary as that black door. Think about how many times fear of the unknown has kept you from moving forward into something better and greater. Ernest Holmes says this. He says, there is no fear in the spirit, and there will be none in us when we realize who and what we are. God wishes us well and knows only that we are now free and perfect. This is the spirit of freedom, whereby we are all born free. Right? It's true. We are free and perfect, and there truly is nothing to fear. And yet, how many of us go through our day trying to control what happens to us because of worry and fear and what ifs? But the fact is, we're actually working against ourselves, because that struggle for control, it blocks the flow of our good coming into our life. Ernest says, to be forever fighting conditions and meeting emergencies in our mind is an obstruction to experiencing a greater good. Isn't that what we do? We fight against our conditions and create emergencies that are only in our heads. And that's what blocks our experience of greater good. You know, the truth is, we weren't born to fit in. We were born to stand out. Regardless of what anybody says, our unique gifts have a purpose. And it's our responsibility to be ourselves. The more we express ourselves authentically, then the more we inspire others to do the same. And that's how we create a world that works for everyone. To be ourselves while showing unconditional love and acceptance for others who are expressing themselves authentically. That's the key. We are what the world has been waiting for. And any challenges we've ever faced in our lives have simply prepared us for exactly this moment. Now is the time to commit to showing up authentically and to choose to live the life that you've always dreamed. That is true freedom. So here's my invitation to you as we move into Independence Day week. I invite you to make a concerted effort to express more freedom in your life. Expand your freedom of expression. Speak your truth full out. Share your unique gifts and talents in new and wondrous ways. Consciously use your freedom of choice, embracing that present moment and stepping out into the unknown with confidence and strength. That's how you answer your soul's call to freedom. Yeah. So let's ground all of this in prayer. Just breathing in that freedom, that perfection, that full expression of God right here and now in our lives. Committing to being in touch with that ever more fully. Committing to expressing ever greater. For I know that we are led and held and guided into a greater expression always and everywhere. And we have that freedom as our very birthright. That freedom to live, to laugh, to love. This is the truth, and I give great thanks for this truth. So grateful. So grateful. And knowing this, I simply allow it to be, and so it is. Amen. Well, thank you for joining me today. It's been such a delight to share these uplifts with you over the past 16 months. Tune in again on Friday for the last uplift with Vision as we complete this virtual support and come back together in person. Yay. Meanwhile, have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.